Virginia smoke. OVS, Old Virginia smoke. OVS, Old Virginia smoke. OVS, Old Virginia smoke. Old Virginia.
My name is Luke Darnell, pitmaster of Old Virginia Smoke Barbecue, and I'm here to tell you about my new online class available at barbecuechamps.com. This is a 100% tell-all competition barbecue class from yours truly, available online. It is a masterclass with 34 high-definition tell-all online competition barbecue videos that can be watched anytime, and they do not expire. They are packed full of pro tips, techniques, and recipes that will show you how to take your barbecue to the next level. These 34 barbecue cooking videos total 7 hours and will show you everything that you need to take your competition cooking to a level that you never thought was possible. We've already heard from several teams that have bought our classes and have already seen success and gotten their first calls. So this is something that brings me a lot of joy in sharing my knowledge and seeing people be successful with it. So are you ready to take your competition and backyard cooking to the next level? What are you waiting for? Just go ahead and go to barbecuechamps.com and find Luke Darnell, Old Virginia Smoke. We hope you learn a lot and enjoy these videos and have as much fun cooking these recipes as we had making them. This podcast is brought to you by barbecuedata.com. Barbecuedata.com is your one-stop shop for all of your barbecue competition data. If you're looking for historical data, calls, wins, and have the ability to track your progress in every meet, Barbecue Data has everything under one roof. It's a great way not only to track yourself in the standings, but also to track how you improve your scores from year to year. This week, I've actually taken a step further, and we're able to see what recipes were working in the past 3 years. Pretty cool when you have access to that kind of data. Listeners of this podcast can receive 20% off of a new subscription to barbecuedata.com with the code PITPOD, all capital letters PITPOD, one word. Use data to score better. Track your competition barbecue progress on barbecuedata.com. Welcome to another edition of Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast. My name is Luke Darnell, and we have a very exciting podcast today with my friend, Christie Vanover from Girls Can Grill. How are you?
I am great, Luke. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It is an honor to have you on here, and I am ashamed that I've not had you on sooner. And and we recently got to spend some time together out in Boise, Idaho.
That's right. We did. Yeah, you weren't cooking too far from me. That was a little trek for both of us.
Yeah, but it was a fun time. And if I recall, didn't you win the potato category?
I lost it by 0.011. I got second. Yeah.
That's right. It was second. And I did have your entry, and it was fantastic.
Thank you.
When you walked it around. And I cooked potato as well, and I did not give myself enough time. And I
remember you saying that. Yeah, I remember a Demolition Man reference. Murder, death, cook.
Right, trying to cook a potato at 500 on a gateway.
Yeah, but you got a call. Yeah,
I did, and I contend that if I had had 4 more minutes, that I would have been higher. But
there you go.
I just could not. As it was, Kim had to run the potato entry, and it was fun, but it was good practice.
Yeah, good. Now, there's a potato ancillary at the Royal, right?
There is, and we have never done well at it.
Okay.
So I think we're going to cook that same potato, but I don't know. It depends on a lot of things. It depends on who comes with us to the Royal.
Sure.
As we've offered several people, like, hey, if you want to come out and help, you can cook all the ancillaries, and we don't care. So
yeah, nice. Well, I actually just posted the recipe for what I made at my website, girlscangrill.com. And then I also posted the YouTube video for how I made it. So I actually did all that. I'm always trying to help people out. And I forgot there was a potato ancillary at the Royal. So you may see a bunch of those at the Royal now because people are going to go find that video and cook that. But
you may see another one specifically from this podcast.
There you go. Yeah, just follow the technique, make it your own, and they seem to like it there. So
Absolutely. Well, it's great to have you on because you are one of my, I consider you a mentor and one of the people that I think have gone all the way into barbecue and are really doing a great job in terms of having consumer products, the online presence, the TV presence, and the competition presence. And you're also a contest organizer. How do you balance all of that?
that's a great question. I love dabbling my toes into everything because I feel like if you're a cook, you're a better judge. If you're a judge, you're a better cook. And then also same thing. If you judge and cook, you're a better organizer. Because by kind of dabbling in everything, I understand the perspective of what everybody wants. So as an organizer, I know what the judges are looking for. I know what makes them enjoy the event. And they're all volunteers. So it's important that we have good judges, first of all, and that they care about what they're doing, because that's going to be to the benefit of the cooks. And as a cook, I want good judges as well, because if, the worst thing is when you land on a table of judges that just doesn't really know what they're doing. So, I feel like it makes barbecue stronger to play in all the playgrounds, because then I kind of can influence different perspectives to just kind of help strengthen the overall game.
I know, and it has to be fascinating to have it from that perspective in terms of being able to balance it. But one of the things I think that you've been really successful at is your consumer products.
Thank you.
And then I've had the pleasure of seeing you at the Fancy Food Show the past couple of years in Las Vegas. And how has that experience been for you in terms of getting your products out there?
It was good. It was really interesting. I was part of the Specialty Food Association, kind of this incubator group where we attended a class and learned all about consumer packaged goods, because I didn't really know. The first time I launched my rubs was with Spiceology, and they pretty much handled everything, kind of like an old world spices model where you give them the recipes and they bottle it and they take care of it all. Well, now I'm independent and I'm doing this all on my own. And so being at the Fancy Food Show helped introduce me to a lot of people, whether they were retailers or whether they're co-packers or things along those lines. So learned a lot, still trying to work on some strong connections. I met with Kroger at the show, and I'm still working on trying to get my foot in the door there. That's a whole nother beast. But I did get into Shields and Fleet Farm recently. And I do have to say a lot of that goes to the support that I have with Patio Provisions, which is run by Hey Grill Hey. So they actually kind of took me under their wing as they're trying to build their rub company, their CPG company. And I'm kind of been the guinea pig with them to kind of work as a program, as a team. So now these big stores can order directly from them, and it makes it a lot easier for me, but it's definitely helped me get into Shields and Fleet Farm and some other big stores. So yeah, it's constantly, it's so different from being a cook who makes a recipe, who cooks a brisket with it. There's a whole nother world out there with co-packers and warehousing and then getting on the shelves and restocking. So I just had a huge order from Fleet Farm, and we just sold out a brisket when I had like 500 bottles the other day. And now I'm like, oh my God, I got to do a quick order, which is a great problem to have. There's still brisket available on Amazon and in retail stores, but at the warehouse, we got to restock fast. So yeah, it's another whole world, but I'm loving every minute of it and hoping to expand as much as I can.
Yes, and I thank you for being that guinea pig, as not any foreshadowing or anything, but maybe a direction that I'm moving in here in the near future, hopefully.
Nice.
So, and yes, it is getting products made is the easy part. Getting them on shelves is the hard part. And coming from my background in the grocery industry as a lobbyist, basically, and knowing the industry like I do, it's once you make initial contact and get interest, it's generally a minimum of 2 years before you get on that shelf.
Yeah, I believe it. Because Kroger, they only do a reset twice a year, as far as I know. And the rub market is so saturated. Like, how do you stand out? And even for me, like, I go back and forth debating, for those who don't know Girls Can Grill, would you buy it? If you saw it on the shelf and you're a dude, are you going to want to buy a rub that says Girls Can Grill? So I personally struggle with that as my brand, because I want to obviously hit the mass market, and my rubs have been proven to taste good no matter what. I mean, they're competition worthy, award winning, but yeah, for someone who doesn't know me, are they going to go to Kroger and go, Girls Can Grill, she probably has a good brisket rub? Maybe not. So, or if a wife brings it home, he might be like, I ain't cooking with this girl rub, So yeah, there's so much to think about. And I tell teams that a lot when they start out and they pick their team name for a competition team. Think about like your future and your brand. Is that what your rub is going to be called? Because maybe someday you have a rub. And so if you have some sexual entendre for your team name, which a lot of people do with butts and racks and all that stuff, Kroger's not going to pick something like that up. So yeah, think about your branding early. And I mean, I did at the time, but not even to the level where I am now. So yeah, something to always battle with.
That's a very important tidbit, which honestly, it hits home for me and was something that we did when we first started was, we don't want anything. Number one, we don't want anything super colorful. And number two, we don't want anything offensive.
Yeah.
Because if it does get to that point where it's a brand, you really just don't want to put yourself in that situation where, especially if you come out with products and they're successful and then you have to change that brand name.
Yeah.
You're basically starting from zero. So that is, wow. If we don't talk about anything else, I think that is such a great little tidbit from this podcast. But let's rewind a little bit and let's get into Christie, the competitor.
Sure.
You've been doing this for quite some time now.
Yeah, I started KCBS in 2017.
Yep. And you have an exceptional team of people that come with you to contests.
I do. My whole family. It's not your typical team makeup. So it's my husband, and then his parents and my parents usually fly into from Arizona. And my friend Kita, she comes sometimes too. I'm the only cook. I'm the only one that does everything: injecting, trimming, cooking, slicing, all that stuff. But they are for sure my team. Like I couldn't do without them because they handle every bit of logistics beyond that, like the driving the truck there, the unloading, the setting up. And then my husband and father-in-law, they'll keep an eye on the pits to make sure the temps are, staying in range so I can be inside doing all the other stuff. So yeah, what I love about barbecue so much and competing is really the family, the time I get to spend with my family. So yeah, that's the best. And my barbecue family and the extended barbecue family.
That was incredible. And I had a good time. I think it was with your dad who kept walking by our site in Boise, and he'd always look at me and be like, you're working too hard. You're working too hard.
Yeah, they're definitely fun. And I love that the barbecue community has embraced them too. That's what's so cool about our sport is like, it's a reunion every time you show up to a barbecue competition. And you just get to meet everybody. It's just cool. Yeah, I love it.
So how has your career or life experiences outside of barbecue prepared you to be a competition pitmaster?
So I've always loved to cook. And I actually started competing in food sport in the non-barbecue world. I cooked at the World Food Championships 2 or 3 times, I think 3 times when it was in Vegas. But it was categories that weren't focused on long form barbecue. And then I actually went over to the barbecue area at one of the World Food Championships. And I was like, this is a pretty cool gig over here. Like instead of a 90-minute like fast cook, like they're chilling out, drinking beer, making amazing brisket. And I was like, I want to learn more about this. And so I joined the Nevada Barbecue Association and learned about competition barbecue. So that kind of got me into that direction. But then for my business, my whole background is in journalism, public relations, and marketing. And so I did that for 20 years for the federal government. And then as I was getting closer to retirement, I started my website, girlscangrill.com, and just basically took everything I know from marketing, PR, web design, graphic design, and used that to build my own company and my own brand. And then in 2022, I was able to retire from the federal government and do this full time. So, yeah.
Wow, that's great. Are you looking for a side gig?
I have a lot of side gigs, actually. So, I mean, I do a lot of client work. Obviously, I'm fortunate enough to be an ambassador for Cowboy Charcoal and for some other brands. And I'm actually just got brought on to help with the Texas Open Fire meetup with Al Fragoni. So I'm helping with event coordination for that, which is in November in Texas. So that's going to be a blast. And then, of course, I'm an organizer as well for the largest competition on the West Coast. We got about 100 teams this November. So yeah, I've definitely, as we talked about at the top of the show, I mean, I'm just expanding all these places and trying to run my rub business. And I've just published my second cookbook. And so, yeah.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
Thanks. Thank you. Yeah.
That's great.
I can't seem to slow myself down. And then the newest thing I'm coming up with, and it's almost done. It's about 75% done, is so many people have asked me if I would hold a class, a competition barbecue class, to teach my stuff. And I've put a lot of free stuff online and some techniques online. It's a little bit dated because some of it's older, but I'm actually going to do an online virtual class, and I've already recorded most of it. It'll be a subscription-based service, like a lot of them are. Like, you pay a one-time fee, and there's different. You can either do a single meat. So let's just say you're struggling in brisket. You just need that brisket cook. I'll offer that class, or you can do the 4-meat. Or there's going to be some other packages where you can actually get one-on-one coaching with me, to where I'll go through your boxes with you. I'll talk about your scores with you, and I'll kind of really pinpoint some of those things and kind of help explain where I think, I mean, obviously I can't taste your barbecue, but where I think that some improvements could be made. So that will be coming soon. Hopefully I would say within the next couple months.
That's very exciting. See, you continue to blaze new paths.
Thank you. My main goal is really to just help people and like expand the sport. And I think one of the barriers is it's scary, and it's hard to buy a $300 brisket and not have any guidance on how to cook it. Although there's lots of tips out there. I mean, the Barbecue League and so many others, and there's others with courses, but that's just always my goal, is make it approachable and less intimidating.
And that's really, I think, the key to teaching in this environment is being accessible, and being able to provide individual feedback. I think people that really care about these things are taking a step back from drinking from the fire hose, and they want individualized help.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very, very key point. One of we all do all these podcasts, and everybody likes to talk about how great everything is and how great you are and I am. But one of my favorite things to talk about are favorite failures. Do you have a favorite failure of yours in the competition world that sets you up for future success?
I'm sure there's more. The first thing that just comes to my mind, though, was my dessert at the Jack. So when I cooked the Jack my first year, I had judged for 3 or 4 years prior to that. So I knew like kind of what the judges are looking for when it comes to the dessert time. And I wanted to do something different. One of the things I was thinking of is, you're in Lynchburg, you're not allowed to drink. Judges aren't allowed to drink leading into the competition, because you need to be sober when you're judging our competition meat. So I said, you know what, for dessert, I'm going to do a boozy milkshake. I'm going to give them the Jack Daniels that they've been craving, and it's going to be cool. It's going to be refreshing, because it can get a little hot and humid sometimes down there. So that was my plan. And it was an epic fail, because you can't make a milkshake in advance. I did as much as I could in advance, but yeah, I was rushing to the end, and then I forgot the straws, and we didn't have time to run back and get the straws. So it made it harder to drink, and didn't do well in that category, needless to say. But I definitely learned that, from that, I should just stick with traditional stuff. Like, there's a reason people make their desserts in advance, and it's because you're so busy with all the other meats and other categories. So definitely learned from that. Also, then the second year, which I actually just touched on in a podcast I just did with David Bosca, is that with cheesecake. So the second year I did cheesecake, it really is better if you have your cheesecake at room temperature versus straight from the fridge, because the texture is going to be more velvety. And I didn't do that right at the Jack in 2023. So I got like 3/8 in tenderness. And if you don't get a 180 at the Jack in dessert, you're just not winning. Like, the first 7 people at least have like 180. So so from a texture standpoint, definitely learned from that one. From a meat standpoint, boy, I'm trying to think of a fail. I mean, I've definitely failed several times. I would say my biggest fail is probably high altitude. When I was early on cooking, not realizing how quickly liquid evaporates. I cooked in show low one year, and thank God I did 2 briskets, because I usually don't. And one of them was a CAB brisket, which is a little bit less marbling than a Wagyu brisket. The other one was Wagyu. And the CAB brisket, when I opened the wrap, was completely evaporated and just a hockey puck. So fortunately, I had that second brisket. But that is when I learned that high altitude cooking makes such a difference. And I've actually since then created a calculator on my website. I think if you just search brisket calculator, it probably comes up in Google, but you can put in the altitude for wherever you're cooking and it will tell you the boiling point. You just enter it and hit enter and it'll tell you the boiling point. So you know that that's generally where your brisket or your meat is going to be done with is at that temperature. And I use that myself when I go to competitions too. So.
Wow. I will use that from now on because I think I got bit by that in Boise. Because I didn't
2,500 there.
Yeah, I didn't think about it until probably about 11 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, "Oh!" And I'm glad that I did. I think I got kind of in the ballpark, but it was one of those things that so busy that whole week, and I just never even put two and two together. But
sure,
wow, we're getting all kinds of tips and tricks here from Christie. So, let's switch gears to gear.
Yeah.
What is one of the most worthwhile investments that you've made in competition barbecue?
Well, no matter whether you're competing or cooking in the backyard, you got to have a thermopen. Like hands down, and I think everybody in barbecue would say that, but hands down, cooking to temperature is so much more important than cooking to time. And I think that's where the transition from backyard cook to competitive cook people struggle because they're like, how many hours should I cook my brisket? How many hours should I cook my pork butt? And it's really not about that. The hours is a generality, and that figuring out probe tenderness and temperature is the key. Beyond that, I'll be honest, the new Pitmaster gloves from Hey Girl Hey, I'm loving those because I usually would wear the cotton liners and then the latex or nitrile gloves on top of that. And then I'm always changing gloves, and I would easily go through half a box to a box of competition of gloves. But now with hers, they're basically already lined gloves. And they are very heat resistant. Like I just pull stuff off the smoker and then you just rinse them under water or, dump them in a bucket or whatever. And I've been loving those. I have small for those who are curious, but I know that they're coming out with like 3XL now. So those are my new favorites.
They are tremendous.
Yeah.
So we were lucky enough to get them pretty early on, and I'm one of the people that the 2X is just not quite there. They're very tight on me. So I still use the cotton glove. But Kim, she has the smalls, and she has those on from 6 in the morning until 11 o'clock when she's out there with the drums, and she's able to just pick up grates, to rotate meats, to do whatever she needs to do, and doesn't have to worry about getting burned. And she, we had to be very specific about what we were taking to Idaho because we flew out. Mm-hmm. And that was the first thing on her list was her Hey Girl Hey heat glove. She had to have those. So mad props to Susie and Todd for that product. It is, I think, fantastic. So, well, you stole on my thunder because the next question is what purchase of $100 or less has most positively impacted your barbecue life? And well, both those things are that. It's do you use a lot of technology in your cook?
I don't. I mean, I have, the smoke, the signal, the RFX, and in competitions, I don't actually use the leave-in probes. I really just rely on my thermopen. Now, when I'm cooking at home, when I'm a little bit more lazy, I use my RFX all the time, and I'll stick pork butts out there, and then I'm working it, inside. I'm doing whatever in the house, and then I can just look at my phone and see if I'm getting close, if I need to go check things. Because again, I'm not cooking to time. I'm just waiting to see if it's ready. But on a competition, I really don't. I mean, I have timers, but that's not super technology. I don't have any fans. The Hunsaker doesn't need them. Those are the drums that I cook on, are Hunsakers. I really can't think of anything that's like advanced.
It's pretty amazing how far we've come, though, because it wasn't that long ago in the past where we all had barbecue gurus or Flame Boss or whatever, and had all that cords running everywhere and alarms going off like nuts. And I just remember all of that, and man.
Yeah. It is funny though, at a comp you'll hear beep, 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 and you're like, is that me? Is that him? Whose is that? Yeah, and maybe sometimes I would do better if I did have a leave-in thermometer and got an alert, but I've got it pretty dialed down now. Other than altitude, things definitely change, with cook times with altitude, but yeah, it's a pretty like meticulous process that just over and over is like show up and repeat kind of thing. So, yeah.
Let's talk about people.
Okay. Who are we going to talk about?
That's entirely up to you.
No.
Who has impacted your life the most in competition barbecue?
Oh, wow. Well, on a personal level, my family, just like I said at the top of the show, it's just that I do this a lot because of them, just because it's an opportunity to spend time with them. I mean, my parents are aging, my in-laws are aging. I'm aging, but just to be able to have that time to spend together and just hanging out by the fire and doing stuff that's been the biggest influence and one of the drivers of why I keep doing it. From a professional standpoint, I will say the moment I got better at competition barbecue was when I took Brad and Tim's class. When I went to Missouri, I'd taken several classes, and so many people have always been supportive and helped me and provided unsolicited information and stuff. And it's been great. But because they cooked on gateways and I'm cooking on drums too, just what I learned at their class and what I learned through the barbecue league, honestly, it helped change my game of performance. So I remember actually I took their class and Brad taught brisket because they kind of each took a meat. And then that was in December 2018 or 19. And then I competed against Brad in February of the following year. So just a couple months later, and I beat him in brisket. And it was the moment when I was like, yeah, I got first actually. And I think he got second. But yeah, that's just, it's cool how the best teams out there will share their tips and their secrets, and you still have to make it your own. But they have that confidence that they can deliver, and they sure do every single time. But yeah, again, that's what's great about the community. I think, in the past, everybody used to be super tight and not share anything. And now I don't feel like it's that secluded anymore. I think people are just, again, trying to keep the sport alive and sharing info.
Yeah. And it's, the one thing that whenever I teach, the first thing that I say is, and it's kind of a stark truth, but I hope it rattles people into paying more attention, is 40% of you in this room will not be able to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, and I'm not going to assign a reason, but this is, you have to do this. And I want to show you everything that I do, but some of you just won't be able to do it. Mm. And that generally gets me better questions and better paying attention.
Sure.
So, that's kind of why I do it, but it's also kind of true. It's, I think taking classes is an art form, and I think you really got to know what you can pluck out and apply to your program. I think is a big power. When you hear the word successful in terms of barbecue, who's the first person that comes to mind?
Honestly, I am going to say Susie. I know she's not a competitive pit master, but she's found a way to be that backyard barbecue hero. I mean, that's kind of her motto. It's just she started out as not a griller. She's been in the food industry her whole life and restaurant industry, but she worked for Traeger. She learned how to do some grilling stuff, created recipes for them. And then she just built this empire. She has her sauces and her rubs and her gloves and has her hands in everything and is judging and doing all sorts of stuff. So I would say, again, it's not the competition circuit side of things, but as the broader world of barbecue, I think it's really impressive what she's done. Yeah.
And she's my answer to that as well, because
cool.
She comes at it from such a non-traditional way in terms of the ecosystem that I was brought up in barbecue. Mm-hmm. But she's also one of the most genuine and nicest people I've ever met.
Yes.
And she is also a huge role model. Mm-hmm. I just think what she's done and what she's created, the community alone.
Yeah.
I think is exceptional. She was on when we filmed the episode of Barbecue USA with Michael Simon, she and I were on the team, and Michael Simon made a crack to somebody about, he had way more followers than they did on Facebook. And Susie goes, and I have more than you.
Right.
And if you know Susie, for her to talk some smack like that's not generally going to happen. But
Right.
just in the context of the conversation, it was hilarious. And he kind of had to take a step back, which was fantastic. Do you have any? Are you a superstitious person? Do you have any habits, rituals, or routines that you have to do at a contest?
The only one is that everybody has to wear camouflage pants, which is because
this is a thing for a lot of teams.
It is. And it's funny because it was like Smitty and the Year Behind Barbecue and all those guys out here on the West Coast, they would always wear their camo shorts. And our guys did occasionally, I did occasionally, but it's just whatever's in the wardrobe that day. And I was at a contest in Kanab, and one of my friends who was a park ranger at Zion came to the competition, and she was like, everybody who keeps getting like first and second has on camo. Why you guys need to just start wearing camo? Like that's obviously what makes people win. And of course she was joking, but then we wore camo like the next time and I did really well. And then there was a competition where we didn't wear camo and I was like, you guys forgot to pack your camo. Like one person forgot it. And then I didn't get the calls I normally get. So it just became this thing now where I'm like, okay, we gotta all wear our camo. So that's probably the only one, but yeah, that's it's kind of, and they know if they didn't pack it that we're going to Walmart and we're going to go get camo. So
I just interviewed the other day. I just interviewed Gabe Trevino, and that was in his list of superstitions was camouflage shorts, and I was like, I cannot make myself do this. There's a team here on the East that back when I started, that's what they would wear. So I kind of refused it.
Yeah.
But I will tell you that I just ordered some hats and they may or may not be camouflage.
There you go.
And it all comes back to, I have it right here. When we did the Shields thing and the company Benchmade was there.
I love their knives. Yeah.
Their knives are amazing. And they gave each one of us a meat crafter, which was incredible. But they also had these hats.
Nice.
And I brought this hat home and I'm like, first of all, it's an old man rope hat. Second of all, it's camouflage. Like, I'll never wear this, but maybe someone I know will. And I had it on one day at the house and Kim comes back from work and she looks at me and she goes, I said, what? She goes, you look really good in that hat. I'm like, oh. So we were desperately in need of new hats. So maybe here in the near future, you might see a camouflage OVS hat.
Nice.
I don't know how I feel about it, but we'll see.
Nice.
Do you listen to music when you cook?
Yes and no. There's not like a playlist. I actually, most of the time we have it on whatever my father-in-law wants to listen to, which is usually like 70s, 80s, 90s country, which I love old country. I like new country too. But that's usually, if there's music on, that's usually it. But honestly, so many teams play their music so damn loud next to me that even if I turn my radio on, I can't even hear my own. So I just, whatever. That's
also a West Coast thing that I've found.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a giant speaker.
Yeah. And if they have a good playlist, I don't usually mind, but I had to give one team some crap at the last competition because at 4:30 in the morning, they decided to play a whole bunch of hard, heavy metal. I was like, geez Louise.
This was in Boise.
Yes.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Because I called him out, but
I heard him too, and I walked over and just looked at him, and I was like, dude, too early, man. Come on.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, some music definitely energizes me. I do have a playlist when I really need it, but I'm just also super focused. I don't need the distraction. I just am like totally in the zone when I'm boxing and that kind of stuff.
That's cool. That's, we used to have the individual playlists. We've kind of gotten away from it. We keep something on now, but we keep it very low. It's just background noise.
Yeah.
Just because we changed our whole program this year, so we had to have a lot more communication. and a
Sure.
lot more discussion about, where things were, what things needed, and being focused on making sure the chicken playlist is on just became a secondary thing. It wasn't on purpose. It just was like, I can't possibly ask her to do that right now, and
Sure.
I'm not going to do it. So we're just not going to do it.
Yeah. Makes sense. Focus on the meat.
So before we get into the rapid fire questions, what do you think separates a good pitmaster from a great pitmaster?
I guess there's a few things. I mean, first of all, you have to understand your pit and your meat. Like being a pit master really comes down to managing your heat and understanding when the meat is cooked and done. And every brisket is not going to cook the same. So you have to understand kind of the science of the meat itself, whether it's brisket, chicken, pork, whatever. But you also have to understand how your pit functions, how your heat flows. That's going to change with charcoal. That's going to change with altitude. That's going to obviously change with whatever pit you're using. So yeah, it's really being a pit master is really mastering the heat management of whatever you're cooking on, and then also understanding the meat. But I would say on a competition side, what separates the greatness is organization and consistency. So you know at home, you know how to do it. But when you get into the heat of the moment, it's so easy to forget stuff, especially if you're communicating with people, talking with people. You can skip a step like that before you know it. And so I actually have timelines printed out at every competition, even though I know it, it's like in my head. But if I go through and I check off every single step, because otherwise someone will ask me something, hey, how are you doing? When's your next whatever? And then if I skipped a step and I forgot an ingredient in my wrap or something, then that can be the difference between a 9 and an 8. So I know not every cook needs to do that. There's other cooks who are very successful without having lists. But for me, that just keeps me focused so I don't slip up.
And I think that's important. We've had to go back to that. We were 7 years on a Jambo. So it was clockwork. I didn't need to know to throw a log in. I didn't need to know, when something would go on. I knew it. Switching over to cans has forced us to be super reliant on the checklist again, which I think has made us better.
Yeah.
Because I think subconsciously I was forgetting steps. I was complacent and I was frankly bored. So,
yeah.
So I think
was too easy.
Yeah. So, well, this has been fun, but we got to do the rapid fire questions.
Okay. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. So the first one is, what do you see about barbecue on social media that upsets or bothers you?
I don't think anything. I don't let myself get bothered. Like I don't let that give me energy. Like if I see something, well, okay, I will say one thing. When women feel like they need to wear less clothes to get more views in the barbecue world, like if they feel like they have to put their tatas out there and that's what's going to get them likes, that irritates me. But from a meat side of things, I don't care what you cook and how you cook it. I don't care if it's a well done steak. Like I don't let that stuff bother me. But I think that women out there should have confidence enough in their meat that they don't have to show off their bodies.
I like that. I'm pretty sure Kim likes that too. That's one of the things that really grinds her gears. One of these days I'm going to interview her and that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite pre, during, or post competition meal?
I would say probably Colby ribs. When we travel to competitions the night before, not at the competition, but like if there's a stop beforehand, we'll always go to a campground and then we grill up Colby ribs. It's just fast and easy. And and it always seems to be dark by the time we get there, but that's probably the one meal that we're cooking all the time. And then afterwards, we love to try to find a way to get ice cream.
That's been a popular answer the past couple of weeks.
Yeah.
What is a favorite present that you like to give to people?
A Thermapen. Most of the time, if I think everybody in my family has one now, but definitely at the beginning when they didn't, that was what I was giving them. And usually it's some type of ThermaWorks something, whether everybody has their favorite colors or whether I'm giving them the trivets or the spatulas and those things. It seems like I'm always giving stuff from there.
Yeah, that's probably my number one gift too, is this weekend, my cousin Herman, he got my dad's Traeger grill.
Nice.
And which was my original Traeger that I gave to my dad. And so he cleaned it all up. I told him how to do that. And he's like, I want to cook something. Okay. So I'm like, do you have a meat thermometer? He's like, no. I'm like, okay. So I'm telling him how to cook these ribs, but at the same time, I'm on thermoworks.com and shipping him a Thermapen. So
nice. It sets you up for success right away. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it becomes a tool that everyone that I've gotten one for, hands down, they use it constantly.
Yeah.
And usually end up getting another one.
Yeah. I mean, I even use it in baking. I use it when I do my potatoes, like my potato entry, 205 to 210 is the perfect tender potato. Like it's definitely more than just for meat.
Absolutely. Okay. Last question. If you could have a gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, getting a message out to millions, what would it say and why?
I would say 10 years ago, I would say Girls Can Grill, because 10 years ago, there just weren't a lot of women in the barbecue space, and it was kind of an intimidating playing field. Now with the evolution of pellet grills and social media, and I don't feel like that's the case anymore. I think it's obvious girls can grill. I think it's obvious anybody can grill. So for today, cook to temperature, not time. From a barbecue standpoint, like that's just the biggest like thing that people can't change their minds about. Like can't seem to get over that hurdle. That's not a very like powerful message, I guess, but like that's the one thing. If you want to become a better cook in barbecue, like honestly, even in your kitchen, but that's like the one thing you just got to transition your mind to follow.
Cook it till it's done. That's probably my billboard. So.
Yeah.
Christie, thank you for being on here. Please tell people where they can find out more about you and Girls Can Grill.
Sure. Thank you for having me. Girlscangrill.com is where I share hundreds of barbecue recipes, thousands of barbecue tips. I also have my own podcast, the Barbecue Tips Podcast, which comes out every Thursday. I'm on all the socials. Every Sunday, I drop a new long form YouTube video. And then I'm doing, short form and stuff all over the place. At Girls Can Grill is my handle. And then if you're in the Vegas area, the Barbecue Jackpot is the contest that I'm organizing November 21st and 22nd. And we have around 100 teams coming out, so it's going to be a good time. And it's F1 weekend, which is going to make it even more exciting.
Oh my, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so the race will be that night right after the competition.
Ooh, I might have to make that call to meet you.
Yeah.
Because I just watched the movie F1 with Brad Pitt.
Nice.
And yeah, it kind of made me a fan. So, all right. Well, thank you very much for being on.
Yeah, I've reached out to F1 to see if they can get me some kind of group tickets. So we'll see if that can happen.
All right. Well, thank you again for being on, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Thanks, Luke. Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast. Be sure to subscribe and like the podcast, rate the podcast, and to share it out with your friends. Also, be sure to check out the Old Virginia Smoke TikTok as well. Old Virginia Smoke, one word. That's all you have to search for. It's hilarious. Tune in next week for another great episode of Pitmaster. For companies interested in advertising, please contact Old Virginia Smoke directly via www.oldvirginiasmoke.com. Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast, is edited by Chris Sedanka. Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast, is a property of Old Virginia Smoke, LLC.
Old Virginia Smoke. Old Virginia, Old Virginia Smoke. Oh, yes. Old Virginia Smoke.